Hello. Um, I guess first off, I had to apologize for having been away as long as I have. Not that anyone has noticed. Well, no one has noticed. Maybe more than one. Um, anyway, I apologize. I've been busy, very busy. Um, but it's winding down. Uh, and hopefully I'll have some more time over the next few weeks to make a couple videos. There are a few that I've been meaning to make. One on modern art again, one on something else. I don't recall. Uh, I apologize if I seem skittish or nervous. I'm very tired. It's about 5 in the morning here. I have to catch a plane at 9:30, 9:10. But I'm leaving my house at about 7. So I just figure, why not just stay up? So it's about 5 in the morning. I'm tired. I'm a little nervous because I'm in a new house by myself. It's kind of big, and creepy. Having the camera going is weirding me out a little bit because ghosts show up on cameras, I guess, or something. Anyway, so I guess I just wanted to make a short little video to try to get back into the swing of things. Um, I've noticed that there's a lot of talk going on with people about sex and gender and objectification and patriarchy, yada yada, sort of the sort of classic feminist topics, right? That's sort of like feminism 101. Um, and one thing that I've been thinking about for a while is about this issue of objectification. Uh, it's not really a worry that I have per se, just a sort of a question, um, or maybe a thought. Uh, so it seems like there's a sort of, oops, sorry, I threw a blanket and knocked the camera. Um, so so the idea behind objectification is pretty simple, right? It's pretty straightforward. Women are treated as objects in some way, not people. Uh, sort maybe the sort of Kantian idea of mere means, right? Treating someone as a mere means, not as an end in themselves. Uh, they're not their autonomy is not respected. They're not treated as free and equal rational beings. Something like this, right? They're treated as objects, sex objects. Often, that's the sort of popular way of cashing it out. Sex objects used for the pleasure of men. Uh, so I think that idea is pretty straightforward. My question or my thought is, okay, well, so I should give some more background, and then there also seems to be, um, in the minds of a lot of sort of contemporary leftists and maybe specifically feminists, but I don't have any data to support that. Um, just maybe a hunch. Uh, a sort of critique of a sort of accompanying critique of materialist culture, where objects are sort of worshipped and we're all slaves to money and material objects. I think this is a common thing. Um, I think it's a pretty widely held view that contemporary society is in some way materialistic to an extreme, maybe to the point where objects are made into gods or worshipped in some weird perverse way. Um, My and that so maybe you've seen where I'm going with this already. My question then, to someone who holds both of these views, right, that our society is materialistic in this sort of extreme sense that I just laid out all too quickly, um, and that women are objectified in the sense that they are treated as objects. My question, and maybe it's nonsensical, that's a live option. All right, probably that's an improper use of the phrase. My question is this: is being an object so bad? Because if you want to say, on the one hand, that objects are worshipped and treated as gods in our society, and that we're slaves to objects and material goods. These things sort of run our lives. We organize our existence around material objects. It seems like the object has a sort of privileged place in that case, right? The object can be, I think the term worship sort of says it all, right? If we're worshiping objects and we are treating objects as gods, or however you want to talk about it, if we're materialistic in this extreme sense, what's so wrong exactly with being an object? It sounds like it might actually be desirable. And if we think of, if we try to make this concrete, bring it back to women, say, people who have extreme, certain kinds of fetishes, right? Foot fetish. It's obviously not being treated as a person. The woman there is obviously being treated as an object, or part of her is. It's not clear to me and maybe this is particular to that specific example. It's not clear to me that that's the worst thing in the world. That's a negative, prima facie negative position to occupy. Desired, worshipped object per se. Object as object, right? That's not obvious to me that that's a terrible thing, or that's a terrible position to be in. Now, clearly there are other cases, right? Clearly there are cases where physical or psychological harm and pain are caused directly. Rape is the sort of obvious example of a case where being used as an object may not be, clearly is not a good thing. But I think there are a lot of borderline cases. Yeah, I really do. I think there are certain cases where being an object in the sort of common sense notion of the term, physical object, not person, right? Material thing, like a cell phone is an object, is not terrible. Especially if you want to hold that our society worships objects and makes objects the object of adoration or what have you. And I think, and this is probably gonna, this is opening another jar of worms that I'm not gonna have time to deal with. But to say, well, in those cases where there's some apparent good being done for the woman, you know, say take some porn actress who has a huge contract with some major pornography company and is only has to do the scenes she wants to do, is getting paid tons of money, et cetera, et cetera. You know, clearly a lot of porn is coercive. Clearly a lot of porn is deceptive and wrong in all kinds of ways. But take this example, right? Someone who's getting paid a lot of money. They're sort of a lot of money, and a lot of these people, you know, some of these people are getting paid a lot of money. They get to pick what scenes they want to do. They have a contract exclusively with one company. To sort of posit an underlying porn complex in the society, and I don't deny that something like that exists, but it's not clear to me how it operates in specific or individual cases, right? Is the idea that this general societal porn complex or porn culture has directly caused this individual to go into porn? That just doesn't sound plausible to me. And it sounds like I know armchair psychology is a cliched term, but something like that anyway. Sort of are too fast into this person's head, or into this person's motivations, where it's not justified. It's sort of unfalsifiable, right? If you just want to say any woman who's in porn, regardless of what they say, regardless of what they tell you, is deluded and is really being coerced into doing it, and is really being wronged in all kinds of ways, yada, yada, yada. Now, it may be the case in that in certain cases that's true, but I don't know that it has to be true in all cases. And I don't think it's something that can just be posited. So I guess those are the two questions I'd like to hear some more about, because it seems like there's a lot of discussion going on about them, and it seems sort of wrong-headed to me in a lot of ways. Is being an object always bad? And how is this sort of larger culture of pornographic influence, where does the rubber meet the road, right? How does it influence individual actions? And how can we just posit that it does, even when the evidence is to the contrary, right? People's testimony and stuff like that. So yeah, those are some thoughts. Thanks. Appreciate you watching, etc., etc.